This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Ballot drop boxes could be legal again in Wisconsin. The state Supreme Court is agreeing to take up a case seeking to overturn Wisconsin's ban on drop boxes. Oral arguments are set for May 13th. The court banned drop boxes almost 2 years ago when it was under conservative control. At the time, justices said state law doesn't allow for off-site drop boxes, but liberals maintain there's nothing in state law that expressly prohibits them either. President Biden is back in Wisconsin today.
In Milwaukee, the president will share how this administration investments are rebuilding our communities and creating good-paying jobs.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says Biden is talking about lowering costs for families and strengthening Social Security and Medicare. The Wisconsin State Senate is firing 8 more of Governor Evers' appointees. Among them are John Miller and Dana Wachs, who voted against diversity cuts when they were on the University of Wisconsin Board of Regents. The Senate has fired 21 Evers appointees since 2019. Wisconsin has a healthcare worker shortage. The Wisconsin Hospital Association annual report says the state's nursing vacancy is 10%.
Registered nurses make up over half of the hospital and health system workforce. So that's very impactful because nurses can fill other gaps on the healthcare team.
The association's Ann Zank says Wisconsin's healthcare workforce is shrinking. At the same time, the state's older population is growing.
People have to wait longer for a primary care appointment or a specialty appointment. Sometimes they end up needing to come to an urgent care department or an emergency department to get that access.
Zank says Wisconsin hospitals need aggressive recruiting and more flexible training programs. Wisconsin state education officials are thinking of letting local school districts choose when they start the school year. Under the current rules, schools can't start earlier than September 1st in Wisconsin, but more and more local schools each year are asking the Department of Public Instruction to start earlier. There's an online public hearing on the proposed rule change on the 25th. Reports say former Packers star quarterback Aaron Rodgers might run for vice president. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is running for president as an independent. The New York Times reports Kennedy's shortlist for running mate includes Rodgers and former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. One person suffered non-life-threatening injuries and 2 others were arrested after a car crashed into an Appleton apartment building. The accident on West Pershing Street caused extensive damage to the car and building. Appleton police are continuing to investigate. The car has been impounded for evidence. Fire risk is high in Brown, Outagamie, and Winnebago counties. It's considered very high in the counties bordering on the west. The Wisconsin DNR is asking people to avoid burning this week due to the elevated fire damage. On windy, dry days, embers from any fire, especially burn piles and burn pits, can easily escape control and cause wildfires. The majority of the 50 wildfires reported throughout Wisconsin this week are related to debris burning. Someone who shopped at the Quick Trip on South Point Road in Ashwaubenon is $100,000 richer. An all-or-nothing ticket for Friday night's drawing matched all 11 of the numbers drawn. The odds of winning the all-or-nothing prize are upwards of 1 in 300,000. Players have 180 days from the draw date to collect their winnings. Game 1 in the Jeopardy! Tournament of Champions shows evidence that Ben Chan, a college professor from Green Bay, is a force to be reckoned with. Chan squeaked out a win in his first game of the final matches for the tournament by $1. The first finalist to win 3 games will take the $250,000 prize and gets an invite to play the primetime Jeopardy! Masters game in May. Jeopardy! Airs locally on Fox 11 at 6 p.m. If you don't exercise your brain, it'll become flabby and out of shape, says Kelsey O'Donnell-Mothy of the Brain Center of Green Bay.
We're so proactive about the rest of our body that when it comes to our brains, we're just so reactive. We wait until the very end to be like, oh my goodness, we need to do something.
Cognitive stimulation uses techniques and strategies that help improve the performance and effectiveness of the brain. She says getting enough sleep, exercise, and quality nutrition also helps.
You don't need to get crazy with going out there and trying like all the different brain foods.
She says spices like turmeric, treats like dark chocolate, and healthy fats like those in avocados are great for brain health. The Brain Center of Green Bay is a nonprofit that works to maximize brain health throughout life. This is Brain Awareness Week. And that's what you need to know. I'm Lisa Hale, WGBW News.
Bucks get clobbered by the Kings. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks fell behind early and lost by 35 points in Sacramento. The final 129-94. It's the first time the Kings have beat Milwaukee in over 8 years. Doc Rivers says his team didn't look ready.
My fault. I didn't get them prepared the way they should mentally. Guys talking about planes and leaving. As a staff, we talked about it after shoot-around. I was like, if our focus is not better than this morning, it's going to be a long day.
The Bucks fell to 1-3 on their West Coast road trip. Damian Lillard.
End of a road trip against a team, once again, coming off a game they feel like they probably should have won. They were just the sharper team. They were the faster team. Giannis, after the loss.
You know that there's going to be a track meet. You know they're going to play fast. You know they're going to shoot the ball with 17 seconds on the clock. If you're not locked in, not able to match the same energy as them, you're going to have problems.
College basketball, the UWM Panthers losing to the Oakland Grizzlies 83-76 in the Horizon League Championship played in Detroit. Oakland advances to the NCAA tournament. The Milwaukee Brewers face the Cubs at Sloan Park in Mesa, Arizona. Colin Ray pitched 4 scoreless innings. William Contreras with an RBI and a 3-run homer. But the Cubs came back with a walk-off home run from Patrick Wisdom to win 6-5 over the Crew. NFL, the Packers re-signed defensive back Keyshawn Nixon to a new 3-year deal worth $18 million, but lose safety Jonathan Owens, who signed a 2-year contract with the Chicago Bears. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On the Showbiz Beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. I will never win an argument in my house again. Those are the words of Molly McNierney, who co-exec produced the Oscars broadcast Sunday night. She's also married to host Jimmy Kimmel. People magazine reports that McNierney advised her husband not to read a certain former president's catty tweet out loud at the Oscars because it was too risky. But comedians will be comedians. Kimmel read the tweet and responded with a joke that brought the house down. How does McNierney feel about that? She told People.com she will probably never win an argument in her house ever again. Well, not with that attitude. Speaking of the Kimmel family, Joy Behar apparently loved Jimmy Kimmel's response to Donald Trump's Oscar tweet, so much so that she had to tell him. The View host said she is friends with Kimmel, and when she heard his joke, she thought to herself, comedians rule. Behar says she wanted to let Jimmy know how she felt, so she decided to email him, but unfortunately emailed the wrong Jimmy, emailing Kimmel's late-night adversary, Jimmy Fallon, instead. Despite not becoming the first Native American to win a Best Actress Oscar, Killers of the Flower Moon actress Lily Gladstone seems to be doing just fine. This year's Best Actress award went to Emma Stone for her performance in Poor Things. According to Deadline, the race for the award this year was too close to call. Stone won the prize at the Golden Globes, but Gladstone won the Screen Actors Guild Best Actress Award, which is usually an Oscar indicator. Gladstone says she wasn't too upset she didn't win and said she was feeling the love big time. Speaking of Emma Stone, the New York Post reports that the Best Actress winner did not seem too pleased with the joke Jimmy Kimmel made during his monologue at the opening of the show. Kimmel made a joke after a clip of Poor Things, saying those were the only parts of the film they could show in reference to the amount of nudity and sex in the film. It is still unclear what Stone said moments later to her husband, but she did not look happy. A couple things. First, it was a joke, and second, did she see Poor Things? People seem to love martial arts, especially when it's paired with animated pandas. Kung Fu Panda won the box office this past weekend with almost $60 million. The DreamWorks family film exceeded expectations, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Speaking of the box office, after Oppenheimer's Best Picture win at the Oscars Sunday night, it became the highest-grossing film to win the award since 2004's The Lord of the Rings. Oppenheimer has brought in $960 million worldwide. The bad news is your Roku account might have been breached. The good news is it won't affect your TV watching. The Hollywood Reporter says Roku has 80 million plus accounts, of which over 15,000 were compromised. Roku says the breach was not due to actual hackers, but by people who got login info from others. That's right, folks. Family members can go to jail for using your login info if you give it to them. So only give it to the ones who bother you the most. Then make a citizen's arrest. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 7 and 9 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Partly cloudy today with clouds gradually increasing here this afternoon. It's still going to be mild. Our high near 59, the wind northeast at 5 to 15. Tonight down to 34. Tomorrow cloudy with rain, 44 the high. Some snowflakes may mix in tomorrow night. Overall, a quarter inch, maybe a little more by the time all of it ends late tomorrow night. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temp now 37.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM.